transitioning from or in addition to the leadership, now comes the competition part, speech contest. I went to welcome Keith Jones. He's going to give Keith and his and more will tell us all about speech contest. Take it away, Keith.
Let's see if we can work this out. All right. What we're going to go over is two things: contests and contestants. And in contests, should be the top page, shouldn't it? There are several things that go on in contests. One of those is the essential roles for any contest. And I need to rearrange people here a little bit. I see that we're not quite the way we should be. All right, where'd you go? There she is. All right. So one of the things that we've got in contest is essential roles, all that stuff that leads into what you have to have as a support staff if you're going to run a contest. And Christine Jones is going to go over some of those roles that are important to be able to just put on a contest. Christine.
Thank you, Keith. You know, this list makes me think every time of the 12 days of Christmas song, of all those things. You get 12 Lords of Leaping and everything else. It seems to take almost that many people to really put on an adequate contest. You start with the contest chair that's going to oversee everything. And then you need a chief judge to manage the judging and the officials. And then a Toastmaster to actually be in front of the room and act as the MC of ceremonies. That's just 3 people right there. I do not recommend combining those roles, by the way. Too many hats on one person. Voting and timing officials. Oh my goodness. Timing officials, you should have at least 2 people timing. Ballot counters, you should have at least 3. And then voting, you should have at least 5 at the club and area level. And beyond that, you should have like 7 or more judges. And then you have to have a tiebreaker judge. Oh, wait, what else am I missing? Oh, a sergeant at arms, probably a Zoom master. Think about all the people involved. It takes quite a community to build a good contest. Mr. Jones, did I miss anybody?
Well, yes, judges are important, are they not?
I said judges. You need at least 5,
well,
and
the
then
thing is,
did you get it?
Yes.
Yeah, and then when you get to division contests, you need at least 7.
There's a simple rule of judges. You need 5 for club, 5 for
And
area,
area.
7 for division, 7 for district, 9 for quarterfinals that are online, and 9 for semifinals, which are in person. And then you need 14 to represent the 14 regions across the world for the World Championship of Public Speaking.
That's as the levels go up. But
yes.
Yeah, even at the basic level, you start with 5 judges. And yeah, that's more people than is in one club.
Do I have to have a contest if I'm a club?
No. You can name a person. You can name somebody to advance to the area, but I recommend that they practice at the club level and make sure they're going to be within time. But it's up to the clubs to decide whether or not they really have to have a contest. They should.
Rebecca dropped something in the chat that would be of interest to everyone, I believe.
Oh, that the judges need to be trained? Oh my goodness, yes. Judging is not evaluating. It's a different training.
Rebecca, what do we have to train the judges on besides just the fact that judging is not evaluation?
Well, one of the things that is different is that in evaluation, they say, what did they do well? What could they improve on? How did they challenge themselves? We don't have any of those questions on the ballot. We have to know how the ballot works. We have to know where to mark, and you have a limited amount of time during the speech in which to mark your ballot and get those points all figured out. In one of the
So
stuff that we had done with you in your judging protocol is that everybody starts in the middle and then you add pluses and minuses based on the things that you notice. And then you count up the pluses, you count up the minuses and whatever, and you add them up, and then you have your score. And you've got a score that tells you how well this person did what they did. Instead of saying, well, it was better than the last time I heard it. And, I liked his elements and his content was so good. And yes, the content is very, very important, but so are all the other elements. So we are not in a teaching position. We are in a judging situation. There is one winner. Pick the winner.
If I might.
So we really should go ahead, Randy.
If I might add just in the pluses and minuses that we're talking about is that, and this is an idea that I was not original at, and I don't remember who suggested it to me, but I start in a speech contest, assuming that every one of the speakers will score down the middle of the point range for each of the categories that are being judged. And then I would apply pluses or minuses to each category based upon what I thought was done particularly well or what was a little bit low, what you might expect as the standard. And all of that is so that on the judging criteria, which is what Toastmasters attempts to do to make the judging as objective as possible, is that gives you a way to figure out how many points you should assign to each judging criteria. And then you go down and add them all up in the bottom. And when you come out, ideally, if you've done it well, then the highest total will go to the winner, and then on down the line to 2 and 3 for the next higher point levels. One thing I would say about this is Toastmaster says judging should be objective. We are human beings. We are not always objective. Sometimes your assignment of points to a particular criteria is going to be very subjective. But this kind of forces you into a regular practice that will focus your attention on how you should pay attention to each one of these judging criteria. And you need to become very familiar with the judging form, because the judging form assigns a range of possible points that you could give to each one of those criteria. And if you will notice, the more important parts of the judging criteria are given to the speech development, logic, conclusion, opening body, conclusion, that sort of thing, not to the delivery. Delivery is there as a separate category of criteria, but it's not as important as the development and the presentation of the ideas in the speech itself. And that's the thing I think sometimes judges at our particular levels, even perhaps as high as the international level, miss, because they seem to be overwhelmed by what is a very booming, impressive voice and actions of body movements on the stage, and they don't pay attention to the development of the speech and what the logic is behind and how well supported their ideas were, which is supposed to be the most important thing that you look at in a speech contest.
Thank you very much, Randy. And I think one of the things Toastmasters International has on their website, they have judges training. Now, it is not very extensive, but it does have judges training out there. And you can find it just going to toastmastersinternational.org and basically looking for judging. And they have videos out there that'll teach you all things. I think the best training that any judge can have is if they turn the judging form over and read the back of the form. That would maybe be the best education on how to use the front side of the form, is to actually read what is contained on the back side of the form. And you'll find out all that information that Randy just gave us in detail. So it will explain what each category and how you actually should be judging in each one of the categories that you are able to use to judge a speaker. So that's one of those important things. Training judges is an important thing to do, and it's important that we get that done before the contests are actually starting. One of the things I brought up with Christine is that they don't have to have a club contest. If you follow the rules, you have to basically have, if a club contest, you have to organize it as Toastmasters says all contests should be organized. If you just want to choose your representative at the area level amongst the members in your club, you can do that any way that you want to do that. So that's very important. Christine.
As I sat here checking my notes, I had to count up again how many roles it actually takes. It takes 14 to 15 people to do a basic level of contest. So if you're doing a club contest, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of clubs that don't have more than 15 people in them. You would need to get other clubs involved and do a joint contest anyway. So there's options. Don't be blinded and say, oh, no, we don't have enough people, we can't do a contest. You can be resourceful.
Very good. One, resourceful. And the transition is actually there. Thank you, Christine, because one of the next things that you need to hold a special contest, any contest, is essential resources. And what is that primary resource? The rule book. Now, there is a new rule book out there. It's from 2025 to 2026 to June of 2026. It is the official rule book for this contest season. You need to go out and take. Who reads rule? Everybody should be reading rule books. Not only the contest officials, but the contestants should also be reading that particular rule book. It is referred to as the Bible of speech contests. And there's all sorts of information in that as to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. I'm always amazed at some of the rules that are in the rule book. And I often think about what happened at a contest to create a rule, because there's some interesting rules in the rule book. So therefore, you should go read it cover to cover, sentence to sentence, chapter to chapter, just so that you, as a judge, as a contest official, and even as a contestant, can be better informed about what's going on in each one of those contests. Now, the other thing that we talked about that is a resource is the judging ballot. Both the judges and the contestants should be looking at that judge's sheet to understand, as a contestant, how you are going to be judged by those judges, so that you work on structure within your speech, the opening, the body, and the close, and the original content. Original content is very important. So that's something that the judges form describes, original content. There's other educational documents. In fact, in District 24, there's a download for those area directors, division directors, district directors, actually program quality directors who are in charge of the contests. The 4 R's of speech contestant, the responsibility that you have to put on a great contest. The right now schedule on the calendar those contests and when they will be. I see that 2 of the divisions have their contests already on the calendar. A third one is not on there yet. Please get your other divisions contest onto the calendar for us. Please, please, please. There are also instructional videos out on Toastmasters International on putting on contests. Besides judging, there's things out there that'll tell you and help you put on contests. And in fact, there is a link that I will send out to everyone in the email about this particular presentation that talks about what's up with contests. It was done in 2019 before the pandemic hit, and we actually did a live presentation of what it takes to get a contest done. You will be interested to watch that. It was very interesting. It's a video on the District 24 YouTube channel that I will send you the link to. So that's interesting. One of the other interesting things that we have within Toastmasters is the ability to give awards. Now, in the past, we used to give trophies and everything at every level. Even I can remember at a club level, we were giving trophies away. We have gotten away from that to the point where we haven't given certificates. So at the area and division contests, please at least award your winners with certificates. They are in the actual contest kits. There's an international contest kit and there's a Tall Tales contest kit that you can download from Toastmasters International, and there's certificates actually in that package that you can award to your winners. So be careful and make sure that you give your winners something that recognizes their achievement that they've done at your contest. At this point, the next position, the third one, which is very important in contest organization, is key planning considerations. Now, Rebecca is going to give us some more information about what are those key planning considerations that you should take in putting together a contest. Rebecca.
So you're going to run a contest, huh? Yeah, you can do it yourself. No, you can't. When you're looking at getting a contest going, just a contest, we're not talking a whole conference or anything where you have to get rooms and you have to get places to go and sleep and the catering and all of that stuff. This is just the contest part. So your contest chair does not run the whole thing. It's impossible. There are too many things to consider. The most important thing then should be, who do you think can do the best job at what needs to be done? So you make use of your delegation. They emphasize the need to delegate tasks rather than doing some things well, because that's what you do well, and some things horrible, because that's what you do horribly. Get somebody into the position that is really good. We have one guy who is really wonderful when it comes to organizing the food for snacks and that type of thing. We have somebody else that is excellent at getting recruits to do the judging and the ballots and all of that stuff. You make sure that your Toastmaster is delegating. Who's going to make sure that all of this paperwork is in place? Who's going to make sure that all of the uh, personal profiles, okay, are accessible so that they can ask the questions and do the interviews? Then you have your general evaluator, and that is now a chief judge. They help choose the judges. They make sure that the judges are eligible, that they're trained, that they understand what the judging process entails. They make sure that there are no conflicts of interest, so that, oh, well, all of the judges are from dynamic speakers, and so they're going to choose people that are in the same club to do. No, you can't do that. That would be rude. So we want to make sure that everything is as objective as possible. And you have to make sure that everything that needs to be covered gets covered by somebody that knows what they're doing. So you cannot do this job by yourself. Then you have to have somebody who is really good when it comes to paperwork. Contestant eligibility. The organizers must verify that the contestants have met the educational requirements. What are the educational requirements for each types of speech, for each type of contest? You have to know that. Oh, where would we find that? Oh, yeah, the rule book. So you make sure that everybody that is on your committee has a copy of the rule book. You make sure that the people that are choosing the things understand what is absolutely necessary for the success of the contest. The hardest part is the originality. So how do you check for originality? Well, you have to be very well read. And you have to understand that some of the stuff that people do, if it is not original, it needs to be attributed. And then you have to also realize that there's only a certain percentage of each speech that can be unoriginal. So most of your speech, 75%, has to be your own take on an idea, your own quotes. Quote yourself, man. If you've written a book, quote your book. But it has to be original. So all of these issues basically hang on how well you delegate. And the more people that you have involved and the better you collaborate, because nobody gets to be on their own little island doing their own thing, the better you collaborate, the better the contest is going to be. It'll run smooth as glass. We got to a couple of contests where we showed up and they had their timers, but they didn't have any timing lights. And so we were scrambling for that. Then there was another one where we went to, and half the judges had to drop out because one of the people competing was in 6 or 7 clubs. Weren't enough people that were not in his club. I wonder who that could have been. He's trying to hide from the camera. We've had times when contests have just failed because they didn't know what they were supposed to do, or they didn't have their scripts on what they were supposed to. And they were winging it. You can't wing it. It just doesn't work that way. So you make sure that you have the best people for the job doing the job. And you're never going to do that by yourself. It's too big. Keith.
Very good. So that's some of the stuff that it takes to work on a contest. And